Hey, it's Dr. Thompson. This is the second part of the program admission orientation. Just a couple more things to share with you that were not in the first video. And the first one is candidate evaluation. And the point of this section is to describe to you how your application materials are evaluated and how we come up with the final decision of who's getting in the program and who isn't. So the things that are evaluated, of course, your grades, and then the written evaluation score is the score for the application. So there's a rubric that we use to evaluate your responses in the format of the application. There's an interview evaluation score, and there's a clinical evaluation score. So the clinical evaluation is those screen sheets, the evaluations that the students and the preceptors will fill out on you as you're doing your directed observation hours. Then we rank order all the components. So keep in mind that rank order means that the highest evaluation score on the application would be rated number 1, and the lowest score would be rated whatever the bottom number is, whatever the number of candidates are. So there's 18 candidates, then the ranking number 1 would have the highest score, and ranking number 18 would have the lowest score. And then we add up all of those rankings. Okay. There we go. All right, so this is what a ranking situation might look like. If looking at Jill, so Jill had she was the second ranked in terms of GPA. And the reason that you know that is that Humpty down here was the top ranked, and his GPA was 3.54. So just looking at GPA, you can see how this ranking system works. Jill's was the second highest at 3.32, and Alice was the third highest at 3.01. Jack was the fourth highest at 2.65. So that's how those were rank ordered. Then the application score, Jack's was the highest ranked and Jill's was the lowest. In the interview score, Jill was the highest and Jack was the lowest. In the clinical evaluation score, Jill was the highest, Humpty was next, Jack was the lowest. Okay, and Alice was somewhere in the middle. So then if we add up all of Jill's rankings, we get a total of 8. Okay, and for Alice, 11, and for Humpty, 8, and for Jack, 13. So then what we have is we come up with the lower score means it's better. If it's higher rated, that's better. So Jill had a final ranking as tied with Humpty for the top candidate. Okay, then Alice, there was no second because there was a tie for first. Alice was third, and Jack was 4. Okay, so in our situation in the program, when we come up with this list, again, we typically get about 18 applicants. So we would get a cluster of scores that would be anywhere from 8 down to maybe 25 or 30 across all the criteria, and then there'd be a break, and the next candidates would be 40 to 60 or something like that. So the point would be that we can sort of tell where the top folks are clustered by their rankings, and then there could be a sort of a drop off in scores after that, and in a subjective sort of way, or in not subjective, but in a rough way, we're looking for who are the top 12, but we're also looking for who's the best fit. Do they have the minimum requirements to be successful? Okay, all right. So that's sort of how we do our the numbers in terms of making that decision. Okay, again, we're ranking everyone considering how many clinical placements that we have, and making sure that the candidates we do get in especially have that GPA requirement, that they've demonstrated that they can fulfill the academic requirements of the program. All right, continuing on in the timeline, what happens with our admissions decision is that by April 10th, we'll make our preliminary admission decisions, and at that point, your admission status is called conditional admission, and if you're not accepted at that point, there will be denial of admission. If you are denied admission, there is a formal appeal process that's in the curriculum handbook, so you're encouraged to read about that. And basically, this conditional admission means that you're admitted pending the submission of final grades at the end of the semester. So then on May 15th, final admission decisions are mailed. And at that point, there can be 3 actions. You could be fully accepted. You could be provisionally accepted in terms of there may be areas that you need to rectify or change within a particular deadline. And then you could be denied at that point as well. And again, a lot of that depends on your grades. And all denials are, you may appeal those, and there's an appeal process. So the most typical thing that happens is that students are admitted without without meeting either the course requirements, haven't taken all the courses, or admitted with a GPA that doesn't quite meet the minimum criteria. And in those cases, the student is given 1 semester in order to fully meet the admission requirements. So you may be admitted provisionally, and the provision is that you have to pull that GPA up by December of your first semester in the program. Okay. All right, so if you are admitted, there's a couple things that you need to take care of before the end of the semester. One is an orientation meeting, and that's on our timeline. And the other is to do the level 1 skill sheet, also to meet all grade and GPA requirements. Okay, that's a little bit of a typo there. And then there's a whole bunch of paperwork on Canvas that I'll have to describe to you at a later date. As of this recording, Canvas is having a problem where I'm not able to demonstrate that for you during this video. Okay. Also want to let you know of some program costs. There are course fees associated with our classes that have labs, so that we can afford things such as tape and tongue depressors and all sorts of disposable things that we would use during lab, ACE wraps and all that type of thing. You may also incur expense traveling to clinical sites. So traveling back and forth to Prince Edward every day if you're assigned out there, traveling back and forth to Hampton-Sydney every day. You need to have the appropriate clothing, including especially khaki shorts and long pants, as well as warm clothes and perhaps even rain gear. There's the cost for immunizations. Every student has to have a TB test annually. You need to do your background check, and that will happen over the summer before you return in August if you're admitted. You'll have the cost of biannual CPR with AED renewal, and then the expenses associated with your internship. So all of these are listed in the handbook, and you're encouraged to read more about them in that curriculum handbook. All right, so program opportunities. So here's some reasons to think about that you should definitely apply and look forward to learning while you're in our program. We participate in and contribute to a tight-knit community of learners. And we promise that you'll be working alongside and learn from quality athletic trainers. You'll participate in learning opportunities with top sports medicine physicians, both at HCA Virginia and also at VCU. That you will, at least that's where the physicians work most of the time, or a lot of times rather, they come to campus. You'll be involving yourself in professional activities outside the classroom, and of course have the opportunity to share experiences and expertise with others. So there's a lot to learn and a lot of good things going on in the Longwood Athletic Training Program. Okay. If you have any questions, please email me. I do have office hours also, and then you can schedule a meeting at the link that is meetdrthompson.youcanbookme.com. And then I will try also to come to your athletic training class for the section that I'm not teaching to see if there are any questions. So look for me to do that in the near future.